Yamaha YZ450 top end rebuild. If you plan on replacing the cam chain, you'll need to remove the stator. I have a video for that on the YZ450 playlist on my channel. Remove the exhaust, breather, coil, and any motor mounts that mount to the head. In no particular order, you can remove the valve cover and the carburetor. Be careful with the valve cover gasket if you want to reuse it. Guys tend to have problems with these bolt gaskets. They'll either double them up or leave them out, so make sure you got one per hole. Now loosen the car boot clamps and remove the subframe bolts. Now with the bike supported, you can remove the rear shock. Just gotta be real careful not to break any plastic fittings when removing the carburetor. Now rotate the engine to top dead center on the compression stroke. Notice the cam timing marks and the cam lobes will be facing away from each other. Record your valve clearances. Again, check out the YZ450 playlist to get more in depth on the valve adjustment video. If your bike has a lot of hours on it, consider just replacing this cam chain tensioner. It's a fairly common cause for grenading an engine. When removing the cam journals, you're going to want to watch out for the bearing locators, and there's a couple dowel pins. Now carefully remove the camshafts and check the lobes for any kind of galling or scratches. It should be a consistent color all the way around the cam lobe. Remove the coolant hose and the small head fasteners first. Loosen the main head bolts in stages in a crisscross pattern. Be super careful not to scratch or drop the head. It's easy to nick the sealing surface, and then you'll end up with oil or coolant leaks. Keep track of the washers that'll probably be stuck in the head. You'll find the head disassembly video in the YZ playlist. When you're inspecting the cam chain, you're just basically looking for any kinks, or if it's stretched, you'll notice the cam timing marks weren't lining up properly. And in that case, just replace the chain. They're cheap enough. You don't want to blow a whole motor by breaking one of these chains. Same thing with the black plastic tensioners. They should be the same color and no crazy grooves worn in it. Again, watch for any dowels when removing the cylinder, and to break the base gasket free, you might need a little tap with a rubber mallet. Do not reuse these gaskets and make sure you clean the surfaces really well, being super careful not to nick them. This piston had a stamped circlip, so I'm using pliers to get it out. Yours might have a typical round circlip. So the wrist pin, we're looking for any kind of wear. If there's any bluing, like discoloring, scratching, or if you can feel with your finger any ridges on there, then it's definitely worn out. If the small end of the rod looks okay, get a new pin and see if it feels different. Generally, if the pin's worn out, so is the crank. On the cylinder, we're looking for any deep scratches or aluminum deposits. There should be a good crosshatch through the whole bore. That's the 45-degree scratches you see there. If any of those are worn off, then likely your cylinder's toast. Put one of the circlips on the bench without the rings on. Just saves you from damaging the rings or possibly dropping the circlip down the bottom end of your motor. Always install the circlip with the opening at the 6 or 12 o'clock position. If you put it sideways, the revs of the engine can actually blow that circlip out of there. Your piston should come with instructions on where they want each of the different rings placed. Also, they should tell you how to check the ring end gap. There'll be a spec there. I've never had one out of spec, but you never know. For the oil control ring, you'll fit the spring first, followed by the rings. As you're installing the rings, keep all the openings as far away as possible from each other. So if you're looking at the top of the piston, you'll have an opening every 70 degrees or so. Double check this oil control ring. Make sure the spring isn't overlapping itself on the end and the rings actually sit loosely around the outside and they're not in behind the spring. Flex the rings as little as possible when you're installing them. I'll show you one of these rings in real time to get a better idea. I'm sure there's some kind of piston ring installer. Maybe I'll try to find one and link it down below. Leave links to parts in the description as well. And also, I appreciate any thumbs up or comments you guys leave. Hopefully your cylinder looks like this and you get this thing as clean as possible because any debris and dirt in there will just wear your piston out that much faster. Also use a good mineral oil to lube it before installation. Now with your piston on the right way, lube up the wrist pin and install it on the connecting rod. Now you can install a second circlip. Make sure it's either at the 6 or 12 o'clock position. And I would highly recommend using a rag in the bottom end to make sure that circlip doesn't end up down there. Really nerve wracking if that thing goes flying out of the hole. Also make absolutely sure that circlip is in the land properly. Don't want that coming out. Install a new base gasket and set the piston to top dead center. Installing the cylinder here is what usually gets people frustrated. As you're going onto the piston, make sure the rings aren't caught on the cylinder skirt. They're pretty easy to bend or break. And you want to use more of a rocking the piston motion to walk it in just under the cylinder weight instead of forcing it down on the piston. It's just tough to compress that oil control spring. Sometimes I use a small flat blade screwdriver just to make sure that the piston ring isn't catching on the skirt. Make sure your dowels are all lined up at the base gasket and install the bolt to 10 Newton meters. Cycle the piston a few times to make sure you didn't catch a ring. Now you can carefully install a cam chain and cam chain tensioner. Here you can use some blue Loctite and torque it to 10 Newton meters. New head gasket and install the cylinder head studs. Now's a good time to fish the cam chain up just in case it gets bound up somewhere. It's easy to pull the head off again. So now you're going to torque the cylinder head bolts to 30 Newton meters and then you're going to back them completely off. And then you're going to torque them to 20 Newton meters and then you're going to rotate them 180 degrees. Once you're torquing those, you can torque the M6 cylinder head bolts to 10 Newton meters and double check that cylinder 6 millimeter bolt as well. Install the exhaust cam first, and there will be a little punch mark on the gear that needs to line up with the flat part of the head. Make sure to watch that there's no slack in the chain as you do this. There will be a dot on each one of the cam gears facing straight up. If you have it aligned correctly, there'll be 13 pins between these two. Lots of people get this part wrong, so triple check this. And it's a super good idea to have an online manual. I'll link that in the description as well. And it'll tell you exactly what you need to have set for your specific gear bike. Typically, the guys won't have the crank set at top dead center, and that throws your cam timing off. So here's a good look at the timing marks and counting the pins. If these marks aren't lined up perfectly with the head surface, it usually means you got to stretch cam chain. Use some mineral oil on the cams and reinstall the journals. Now very carefully torque these to 10 Newton meters. Using a small flat blade, you're going to want to release the tension on the cam chain tensioner before installing it. Make sure you have the copper washers in the right spot and torque this one to 10 Newton meters as well. Release the cam chain tensioner again and make sure there's only spring tension pushing on the cam chain. Clean and check your gaskets and torque the valve cover to 10 Newton meters. This is another spot where people make mistakes. They over tighten these bolts and strip it out of the cam journals. It's a good idea to put some dielectric grease in between the coil and the spark plug and also on the coil connector here. I'll link the dielectric grease down below. Now you can reinstall the carb, and careful not to over tighten these little plastic fasteners here.
Made in Germany, right? It's a German company, but that
Engine mount nuts get torqued to 40 Newton meters. Top shock mount bolt can be torqued to 56 Newton meters and the bottom 53. It's easier to place the clamp on the carb first rather than try and squeeze it between the shock and the frame. This is another spot I see a lot of mistakes. Guys won't get the carb boot on properly, and so it'll be just sucking dirt and sand. This is how it should look on both sides. Subframe bolts get torqued to 30 Newton meters. When installing the exhaust, make sure you torque the cylinder head first before tightening the clamp to the silencer. You can use some grease to hold the exhaust gasket in the head. The exhaust flange bolts get tightened to 20 Newton meters. Appreciate a like if you found that useful, and by all means, leave a comment and check out my other playlists for more how to videos.